So we're now recording, and I just want to formally just welcome you to this Reflect Forward live call. The process that we're going to work through is I'm basically going to outline the model, this really funky, cool model that you can use for yourself as you're reflecting back over your year and get a great deal of clarity around um, what have been the wins, what have been the successes for your year. Uh, what I find is when you get a great sense of clarity over the wins and the successes, you'll have a look at what you've confronted, what challenges you've confronted, and then what you actually learned from those challenges. Look at some of the aspirations that you, big picture stuff that you've got for next year. You get a great sense of clarity. And when you've got a great sense of clarity, this builds a great sense of internal certainty. And then that actually becomes incredibly motivating. So the whole goal of this session is really to give you a model that will help you bring all of the good stuff into a moment, into a space that you can then start to use to propel you forward as you project and envision and visualize what the potential of your new year could look like. So, the process, I'll outline the model. Then I'm going to literally ask you guys the questions. I'll ask you guys the questions as we work through them. I'm going to give you the opportunity to literally just write down, brainstorm everything that you can think of. So it's basically a little coaching session, really. Then I'm going to ask you to really narrow down your focus, become even narrower. And then I'm going to ask you to give me some feedback. You're going to literally type it into, there's a little question box, which is in the box that should be on the right-hand side of your screen. So there's a little question box and you can type into that. So when I say, okay, here's now start giving me some feedback. What did you come up with? What spoke to you the most? You're going to type in to the question box. And so it keeps it like really interactive. If we've got time as we move through, I'd love to get somebody to maybe raise their hand, and we might even be able to go even a little bit deeper and ask some more coaching questions, sort of one-on-one. We'll just see how we go with that. So is everybody comfortable with that? How about you type in a yes, got it, something like that into the little question. Hello, Tracy. Hello, yay. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so everybody's saying, yep, that's really cool. Excellent. Okay, just got to click this box again. Fantastic. I'm just going to make sure that I am actually recording. Great, because I remember once I did a really, really great webinar and didn't record it. Okie dokie. So we're going to squeeze heaps and heaps of info into a very short space of time. So we want to get all the juice, all the good stuff out of it. So just a couple of pointers for you guys. If you've not ever sat on a webinar with me before, I really want you guys just to trust that you're going to take what you need from this webinar. Because you can get a lot of information, and it can almost feel like info overload, and then you can step into a space where you start to feel like quite overwhelmed, like I'm never going to remember all of this information. Just trust that you're going to take actually what you need right now to move you to the next space that you need to be in. Also, stick around till the very end of the webinar, and like I said, I'll make sure that you've got the info that you need to have access to the link, and any PDFs or that I can email you. So just stick around right to the very end. And I'll also give you a couple of action steps, because it's one thing to have a lot of information, but if you've got a lot of information and you don't then action it, then it can really start to feel quite overwhelming. So everybody cool with that? You're all cool? Again, going down to your little question box, I need some yeses so I can move on, because I won't move on until I know that we're all good. Yes, yes, okay, look out, yep, we're all good, yep, lots of yeses. Fantastic. So to make sure that you get all the juice, all the good stuff out of the webinar, out of this live call, there's 3 gets that I need to just to make sure that you're all set. So I need you to get what you need. So make sure that you've got pen, paper. If you've got the printout that I sent those guys that gave me their email addresses, a piece of paper, a drink, whatever you need. So if you haven't got that stuff now, bolt, run, grab it, cup of coffee. It's nice and early in the morning. The second get is to get rid of all distractions. So, turn off your iPhone, turn off your emails, tell the kids just to give you some space, back off, give mum a moment, give dad a moment, and really truly make a decision to be 100% present, not scrolling through Facebook on another screen as you're listening to the webinar. Like, if you're going to invest 1 hour to set yourself up really well for next year and to really maximize all the unrealized potential from the year that you've just had, then invest yourself and play at 100%. Then the third get is to really get ready to absorb the information. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of info. So it's just about creating a mindset that just says, you know what, I'm really truly going to just be like a sponge and I'm going to soak it all up. And then I'm just going to squeeze it all out and trust that you are going to hold on to the information that you need. So, we all good with that? Yep. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Very cool. So, this is my belief. My belief is that the greatest gift that you can give yourself is permission to just really pause and intentionally reflect. Reflect on the year that's been. Reflect on the woman, the man that you're becoming in the process, just to really honor the values that you've lived out over the last 12 months, the moments that you've spent with friends, with families, the interactions, the opportunities to really intentionally reflect. And yet what can happen all too often is, as I wrote in my blog, is that we can get so focused on this Christmas season, the year coming to the end, the Christmas functions, the obligations, the expectations, the presents, the gift, the dinner, the lunch, Boxing Day sales, and then there's New Year's Eve, and then we sort of flop into the new year and we wake up around mid-January sort of with this festive season hangover, and we're already into our new year. This process of reflection can really help you start the new year off incredibly well, incredibly focused. Like I said, a great deal of clarity, a great deal of confidence, a great deal of certainty, a great deal of momentum, and really make the most of every single year. A person that I listen to a lot and have a lot of respect for is a guy called Rowan Dredge, and he frames it this way, that there's only 10 years in a decade. 10 times 1 year is a decade. And we often can underestimate how much we can accomplish in 12 months and overestimate how much we can accomplish in a decade. But when you break it down and you live every year incredibly intentionally, it's amazing what your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, and your 50s, the older that you get, the more you think in terms of decades. There's never been a better time for us to be incredibly intentional about every single moment, every single month, every single year that we are living. And so, what I'd love you just to start thinking about as we step into this model is, if this time of reflection truly was a gift for you, sitting there wherever you are. We've got people from Queensland, we've got people here in Bali, we've got people in America. Wherever you are, what would that gift look like if it was really unwrapped? What would your life look like? If you shook this gift, what would it sound like? What would be the words? What would be the internal dialogue that would be happening on the inside of you if you were really truly to be 100% present and make the most of this 1 hour and then the juice that flows from this time. And if you were to put it on, what would it feel like? What would be the feelings, the emotions? I've spoken about the feeling of certainty, the feeling of confidence, of motivation, this sense that, just maybe those aspirations that are on the inside of you could potentially be realized. You could start to make some significant steps towards becoming this person that you truly aspire to be. So, this is the gift and the power of reflection. There's a great article that I read, and I've linked it in my blog, which actually, surprisingly, they didn't expect it, but they did some research around success and the power of intentionally reflecting, and developing a heightened sense of self-awareness. That they call it a powerful and dynamic catalyst to success. And that's actually what you guys have raised your hands to and are doing right now. So let's move on to the model. So this is Taki Moore's model. We're going to move through 5 forces of reflection. The first one he talks about is this sense of internal pride, not a negative, not with the negative connotations, but being incredibly proud of some achievements. What would be the achievements over the last 12 months that cause you to feel very proud? And more than that, what emotions of gratitude, like if you're really proud about it, for what are you grateful for about that moment, about um, that event or that activity or that achievement? The next one is growth. What have you grown this year? What challenges have you confronted that have really grown you? What has been the growth in your year? Uh, this one is about completion, making sure that there's no open loops in your year. So, what is incomplete that you can actually draw it to some sort of completion? So, we're going to look at that. We're going to look at aspirations. What are your aspirations for the coming year? And then we're going to look at the dynamic of motivation. So these are the 5 forces: the force of pride and gratitude, the force of growth, intentional growth, or even ad hoc growth, the stuff that you didn't really intend to do, but you have done because you've stepped up and confronted some challenges. The idea of bringing completion to the things that are incomplete in your year, aspirations, allowing a moment to actually start to think about what you would aspire to next year, and then motivation. So, how are we going so far? We're all good? Everybody with me? Again, checking in. All good? Yep. Yep, we're all good. Lots of yeses. Fantastic. Now, what I want, as we're moving through this, I want us to really remember that this is not about analysis or numbers. This is not about right or wrong. There's no right or wrongs here. This is actually about really building momentum and being incredibly forward focused. So we're not going on a witch hunt where there's no failure here. There's just about feedback that's going to move us with great strength into our new year. Remembering that what we focus on is what we get, to the exclusion of everything else. So, this is the idea that there's an internal mechanism in our psychology called our reticular activating system that really sets us up for success. So we can focus on what we didn't do well, what we didn't complete, the challenge, but not the growth. We can focus on that, or we can reframe everything and bring all the positive, like I said, all the positive juice into our very present now, and use that to motivate and move us forward. So, like I said, it's about bringing all the juice, all the successes into our now and starting to build a really positive framework for our year ahead. And I can guarantee you that as we move through this model, you are going to be incredibly inspired. You're going to walk away incredibly motivated. As I know you're already in a great frame of mind, but you're going to be in an even better frame of mind to start to project yourself forward, purely and simply because you're going to go, oh my goodness, I actually had a really powerful year. I learned a lot. I didn't do everything that I really wanted to do, but gee, I did do some really awesome stuff. Okay, so let's get ourselves started. So the first force is around pride and gratitude. So the question that I want to ask you guys, and this is where you're going to have to get your pen and your paper out, and you guys are going to have to start doing some work. Because I want to ask you, what were your top 3 greatest achievements for the year? I want you to take a few moments now and start writing. Just allow it to flow. Don't filter it. Remember, it's not about analysis. It's not about numbers. This is not about right or wrong. These are just the things that you feel are your greatest achievements for the year. So take a few minutes to list your gold star magic moments. What would be your trophy outcomes for 2012? I want you to start writing these down on the paper in front of you. Just brainstorm, write as many as you can, and then what we'll do is we'll narrow it down to the 3 that you think are your top 3. Just use your pen and your paper, jot it all down. Don't filter it too much. Don't analyze it too much. What were the 3 greatest achievements for the year? It might have been a decision. It might have even been an attitude or a mindset that you chose to adopt. It doesn't have to be a tangible outcome. It could actually be an approach that you took to the year. It might be some ideas. It might be some actions. It might be some wins, some successes. It could be incredibly intimate and personal. You don't have to share everything here. This is between you and yourself. You're reflecting over your year. I know some of the things that came up for me were literally getting back on my bike and riding it, something that I'd wanted to do for ages. I was incredibly proud of myself for doing that, particularly here in Bali. Tutoring my daughter for 6 months. I was incredibly proud of that moment, and more importantly, I was incredibly grateful for the time that I was able to spend with her. So narrow that down now to your top 3. What would be your top 3? And as you've narrowed it down, I want you to start jotting them down into the question box. I'd love some feedback. Your top 3. My top 3 were completing my ebook and my program, the Live Aligned program and my ideal ebook. There was a really cool one around just around my daughter Asha. The other one that I was incredibly proud of was just the time that I spent with the Generation team on the Gold Coast. I was really proud of that. Okay, I've got someone here that's saying the opportunity to lead a connect group, and another one was to do the time of giving at church. She was incredibly proud. Traveling to Bali, my first overseas holiday, grateful for the opportunity to experience that. Fantastic. The way that I've responded to Keisha this year, that's beautiful. Finishing 3/4 of my nursing diploma, finding my true calling in my nursing career, and breaking my addiction to prescription pills. Powerful stuff. Well done. Completing Cert 4 4 weeks early. Determination, motivation, commitment, grace. Redefining health and fitness, running the City to Surf, relocating and returning home after 20 years in Darwin. completing 20-kilometre obstacle course, completing 12 months body transformational course, starting my fitness business, powerful. Beating the fear of failure, financial freedom, and finally getting a passport and going overseas after 15 years. Oh my goodness, so amazing. Living aligned, significant moment that, the program, yeah, significant moment that changed the way I do things, powerful. Giving up drinking after 28 years of alcohol dependence, powerful. Acting program manager, editing a book, yeah, very grateful for that one. Stepping up as a song leader and speaking to the worship team, powerful. Giving completed studies against all obstacles. Decision to step away from a secure job and putting family and community first. Getting control over alcohol addiction. Reconnection with mum and dad after 2 years. Oh, look, you guys are amazing. Okay, that's awesome. What I'd love you to do now is, like, you've narrowed down your top three. Take a moment to now think about what is it about those top three, that you're really grateful for. Um, who was it here? Nush. So, my good friend Anushka here. So, like, Anushka's gone completing my cert for 4 weeks early, and what she's grateful about, related to that, is just she got to experience what determination and motivation and commitment can give you. Redefining health and fitness, running the city to surf, relocating, and yeah. So, like, for me, completing my number one, completing my ebook and my program, what I'm incredibly grateful for me personally is just that I got to experience the power of discipline, and more importantly, the power of accountability. That was incredibly grateful for that. It's given me the opportunity to exercise my purpose in offering my art, I guess, for want of a better words, what my gift, uh, the stuff that I'm always talking about. I gifted my art to a community of women, a community of people. So regardless of whether or not people purchase the book, that's irrelevant. It's the fact that I actually completed it. So I'd love you to dig down a little bit deeper and have a bit of a think about that and give me some feedback. Hey, John, so cool to have you listening too. Wow, that's awesome. So let's dig a little bit deeper. Okay, so got Maddie here saying with her nursing diploma, she's really grateful because I had the willpower from me and my close friends from generation to succeed. So for Maddie, it was about experiencing what her will to overcome and achieve gave her. Responding to Nikisha, not from fear, but from love, as it's really about her and not me. So, what we're looking at is we're digging a little bit deeper and we're looking at what we are grateful for about these moments of pride. So, it's about shifting now from feeling proud of our achievements to now actually becoming cultivating gratitude. So we dig a little bit deeper. So the question is, for what purpose? What did um, realizing the nursing diploma give you? So what was it that gave you, and for what purpose would you want that? So digging a little bit deeper and looking at what we're grateful for. Um, so we've got, for example, John, the decision to visit my mum before she passed away. So, what are you grateful for about that? Because this starts to give you some insight into not what you did, but why you did it. And then you can start looking at replicating and making sure that you're not neglecting opportunities to experience that powerful why? Was it about honoring your parents? Was it about experiencing connection? What was it? What were you grateful for? Um, so that's what this question's about. Grateful for being able to successfully stick to a program for 12 weeks. Finding my true calling. The gift of strength and resilience. Awesome. You guys are getting it. You guys are getting it. I've drawn closer to her out of our relationship. The resilience I got from these achievements has become a real stepping stone. I'm grateful that I've had the support and encouragement to overcome fears, insecurities, and low self-esteem by focusing on serving God and others. See, yes. Grateful for realizing family is a core value. Significance and confidence. That's it. Grateful for realizing what grace is and how powerful it can get. Now you're getting it. That's good. That's good. Excellent. Fantastic. Okay, we ready to move on to the next one. So obviously you guys have got some good stuff on your paper there. See, can you start to sense the emotion that this brings into your present moment as you're reflecting? This is the power of personal reflection and its heightened sense of self-awareness. Okay, so now growth. Now I want you to look at what are the biggest challenges that you've grown through. And then more importantly, what did you actually learn? So the best way to do this is exactly the same way. Start writing down, start brainstorming. Just get it out from your head, your heart. Start, what were some of the biggest challenges that you've confronted over the last 12 months? For me, it was about transition, about the time of transition. The last 12 months really has been a season of transition. I had a couple of emergency room visits over the last 12 months in another country. Very grateful for my friends here in Bali, one friend in particular. An exploding stove, the whole thing around our marriage and the mirage or the ideal versus the real. Some challenges have been just really the cultural transition. Stepping up to a whole other level in terms of business. So these are some of the challenges that I confronted. So what are some of the challenges that you've confronted over the last 12 months? And again, this is cultivating the idea that there's not winners and losers. There's not wins and losses. Then there's not, wins and failures. It's all about winning, the wins, celebrating the wins and the lessons, the learnings. What did you go through that actually grew you? You've actually survived some challenges and now you have thrived through them. You've grown, giving ourselves the time to acknowledge the growth that has come through the challenges, as opposed to, again, going from a challenge, because challenge will come. The greatest myth in this world is that, you come to Jesus or you find your purpose and your calling and then all your problems go away. That's not true. Problems still come. You will still confront problems. But it's about giving yourself the time and the space to actually reflect on the learnings. What did you learn about yourself? What did it grow in you? Did it grow confidence, determination, calm, faith, maybe skills that you didn't even know that you had? Don't just go through your year, get from your year feedback. And what I've learned about this is that this feedback is not necessarily for you, it's for others. It's so when you're communicating about the experience of your year, of your decade, that there's some key lessons that you can actually pass on to people. So what are some of the biggest challenges? And then I want you to really look at, what did you learn from those challenges? So you're going to brainstorm, write them down, narrow down, just quickly allow your eyes to just filter over them. Go 1, 2, 3, your top 3 challenges that you grew through, growth promoting opportunities, I like to call them. I cultivated a mindset, no such thing as problems, only opportunities. Every problem is an opportunity for God just to shine brighter. And then what did you learn from those top 3 growth promoting opportunities, those top 3 challenges? Some of my biggest learnings have been, firstly, just the power of faith statements. If I truly believe that this time in 12 months, this problem I'll look back and I'll see it as one of the greatest opportunities, what would I allow myself to be thinking, saying, reflecting on? What words would I allow to come out of my mouth? The power of faith, a faith frame. No problems, only opportunities was another lesson. Another lesson is, love causes you to step up from the table. So I'd love some feedback. What were some of the challenges that you guys grew through, and what were some of the lessons? Yeah, grateful that I decided to go straight away and visit mum instead of procrastinating. So the lesson is that procrastination robs you of opportunities that you will never get again. Fantastic. Biggest challenge, living in the midst of uncertainty and insecurity. While living in the church building for 8 months, learned that the world doesn't fall away from my feet. Helped me to really focus on what is actually important in my life, not what society dictates you need in order to succeed. Powerful. Grieving the loss of my sister, God sits with me in my grief and loss. Grief is an ongoing process, not a 5-step solution. Grace of God is so, so powerful. Death has deepened me, softened me, my understanding of what is most important in life, a deeper appreciation for life and relationship with those powerful. Awesome. Breaking my addiction, I'm grateful for my best friend Laura for waking me up and realizing that God has love and the whisper of a dad. He knows I'm in pain. Excellent. And will do whatever it takes to help me. Resilience, courage. Beautiful. So you guys are getting it. Not allowing fear to dictate my responses. Fantastic. When I become anxious, I was able to step back and see the limitations and hear what I was saying and reframe it. For both of us, when Cass left home in not such good circumstances, we had to overcome anger, fear, learning to deal with it all in love and patience. The outcome was her returning home and all growing continually as a family. Yeah. Learn it's important to leave a margin in areas of life, for example, time, finance. Overextending can lead to losing freedom of choice. Powerful. Leaving behind family and friends and a lifetime of relationship and experience to start a completely different life. I realized that I'm more resilient than I thought and can adapt to change. That God is with me, and that as I press into Him, He brings the people into my life that will help and support me go through the challenges in life. So you're starting to get the sense of how powerful this can actually be. as part of the process, recognizing the growth. Again, allow yourself to really to really experience the emotion that just typing that stuff, just writing it down brings into this moment. Just allow yourself to experience that. The next area that we want to come and look at, the next part of the process, is completion. So this really looks at the incompletes. What unfinished business do you have from this year? So in this section, you're going to again just do the same process. Just write down what are some of the unfinished business, the stuff that you started out the year, where they were your New Year's resolutions, and go, okay, so what are the open loops? What is the stuff that you didn't nail but you know is really important? Some projects maybe that you started but you didn't complete. Maybe some goals that you set that are left unrealized. Perhaps you have started but have been inconsistent. So this is the stuff that I want you to start writing down. This is the stuff. Start writing it down, jotting it down. Same process. Write it down, narrow it down to your top 3. What is it about this unfinished business, these incompletes, that really does bug you? Now, be honest with yourself. What is it that about these? You've narrowed it down to the top 3. What is it that just like really bugs you? What would you love it to look like instead? And why would you like it to look that way? What would it give you if it looked different? See, I know for myself that for a number of years, I actually had some pretty hardcore health and fitness goals down, and I would put them down every year, and every year they were incomplete. It was a really open loop. I've never been incredibly neglectful of my health and fitness, but the sort of the hardcore goals that I set at the beginning of the year, I often left them unrealized. And then working through this process actually helped me see that those goals were more important to other people than they were to me. And sometimes, not all the time, the stuff that is consistently incomplete or the goals that are unrealized, it just may be that they're really just not important enough to you. And so then you've got a decision. You can either just let it go, just let it go. Just go, okay, that's just really not important to me. I keep putting it on my New Year's resolution list, but it's just not important to me. Or actually look at, well, why is it not important to you? If you're consistently not doing it, then perhaps you need to really look at what needs to shift. What is the compelling why that you need to build into the motivation? And it's okay to let some stuff go. It's okay. Often we'll carry stuff into a new year and then look at it one day and go, why am I even feeling bad because I didn't realize that goal, but it actually just isn't really important to me. I sort of picked it up along the way because everybody else thinks it's important. Awesome. So what's some of the stuff? Incompletes. Incompletes. I want to see some incompletes. Okay. So finish my diploma. It's something that bugs me because I need to finish what I started. I recognized it's a tool to help me grow in my area of responsibility. So ultimately, it's not just me I'm letting down, but the church if I don't make the most of opportunities to grow. I would love to be free from the addiction of sugar. So, more clear minded, less fuzzy, be the best version of me and take the family on the journey into health. Okay. So, these are incompletes. These can start to fuel your aspirations. Learning guitar, something I've been wanting to do and starting and stopping for the last 5 years. This year, I finally decided to seek some professional help. I started the process of doing it all, but then for some reason, I couldn't do it. I couldn't face the shame of speaking to somebody professionally. It bugs the heck out of me because I know they can help me. Yeah, still undecisive about it. Relationship promises, not following through on making it a priority, consistent, not making my black belt, not spending enough time with the kids. Wow, that's awesome. Love, 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 love the honesty here. That's awesome. Excellent. So again, you get the idea. You get the idea that this is a great space for you to jot down. So again, my incompletes were around healthy eating, personal story. I know that I've got another book that I need to write, and that was one of my goals for this year, and also climbing a volcano. I want to climb a volcano. So these start to become and start helping me frame my aspirations. These things really truly are healthy, are important for me. Like healthy eating has become a priority, sort of over and above even regular exercising. Um, so these can start to help me frame my aspirations. So again, guys, I want you to really think. If I was to meet you guys in 12 months' time, if we were to sit on another live call, or you were to come over to Bali, or we were to catch up, and if it was an incredibly brilliant year, I said to you, tell me, what were the 3 to 4 things that you did that made your year so brilliant? What would be the 3 to 4 things that you would tell me about? Would it be about your family? Would it be about your business? Would it be about your ministry or your calling or your purpose? Would it be about your job? Would it be about your studies? Would it be about your friendships? Jot stuff down. Would it be about, I don't know, a mindset that you've cultivated over the year? Would it be some practices that you'd introduced into your life? Would it be about the woman or the man that you'd actually become? What would be the 3 to 4 things that would make next year absolutely brilliant? What would it be? Jot down some things. Your top 3 aspirations. And while you're jotting them down and then again allowing your eyes just to filter over it, don't analyze it too much. Just go 1, 2, 3 in order of priority. So imagine going, Trace, oh my goodness, it was a brilliant year. I mean, I had so many goals at the beginning of the year and I didn't get to every single one. I've got some incompletes, but you know what? These 3 things I achieved and I'm so proud. I'm so pleased. I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity. implement key programs in church to grow others, build my marriage, enjoy my children, cultivate new existing friendships because connection is of great value to me. Beautiful. Complete my diploma, compete in a bodybuilding comp. Fantastic. Great. So we're having a conversation, and Anushka says, "Oh my goodness, I just can't believe the strength that's in my marriage. I've just had the best year. I've so enjoyed my two beautiful boys, who are also my godsons, and I've just cultivated these amazing friendships. I've really lived out of a space that's honored the values that are important to me." Andrea, babe, I've got a blank space for you. Our family are well and truly on their way to better health. Have my faith underpinned by God's intervention and grace on my journey home. Beautiful. Smash budget at work. 4.2 million. Woohoo! With the promise of a significant pay rise, which will open opportunities to give and to get a house. Beautiful. So again, you guys are getting the sense of the power in prioritizing and actually identifying what are the aspirations. So many times I'll ask people, what would be your top three aspirations? What are, the what are the three main desires, biggest desires in your heart? What's most important to you? And the number of times people will give me really vague answers. And the logic behind it, the psychology behind it is, if you can't say it or give it expression, it tells me that you can't think it. And if you can't think it, then there's no words around it. And so you literally can't visualize it. And if you can't visualize it, then you can't imagine it. And the Bible tells me that if there is no vision, then the vision perishes. You can't actually have it. So the more specific you are around what's truly important to you and why those things are important to you, the more chance you have of actually realizing success. Realizing that an intentional mindset can change everything. I've built on my guitar skills and writing worship songs and ministering to others through song. Awesome. That's fantastic. Okay. Let's move on to our next one. This is about motivation. This is all about the force of motivation. So some people are incredibly goal oriented. I personally am not, which is really quite surprising to people because I really, really believe in the power of goals. One of the significant keys around realizing goals, particularly if you are not naturally hardwired towards goals, is motivation. So, are you actually motivated to move towards that goal because it's like a carrot in front of you? Or are you more interested in moving away from something because of the stick or the pain associated with what you're moving away from? So getting some sense around, like I think it was Peter that said it really bugs him that he hasn't completed his diploma. So he could really maximize the pain. That's not a bad thing, to moving away from the pain associated with the bugging. It just annoys me that I haven't finished that. But really refocus on the carrot in front of you of like, well, why? What will it give you when you realize it? How will your life look different when you've realized that goal, that achievement, that aspiration? What will look different in your world, Peter, when you actually have that diploma in your hand? What will those learnings give you? what will that bring to you? Will it be about confidence? Will it be about new knowledge and information and being able to share that? Because if it's just about having a plaque on the wall, or just about moving away from the pain of something that bugs you, then it may not be enough for you to get it done. So it's about moving the away from and the towards motivation and maximizing its potential to move you towards the goals and realizing them. So think about now, I want you, this is the final one, the final force. So we've looked at what we're proud about and why we're proud of those things, the feelings of gratitude that this sense of pride gives us. We've looked at the challenges and how we've grown throughout the year. We've looked at some of the things that are incomplete. We've faced up to it. We've been honest with ourselves. We haven't glossed over it and tucked it away in the bottom drawer. We've looked at those incompletes, the open loops, and we've looked at what's really important to us and that, they can become some priorities. And then we've also looked at maybe some of those incompletes are just not as important to me as I thought they were. And you can just let them go and focus your energies on stuff that is really important for you right now. You've thought about your aspirations. What could be some of the key aspirations for 2014? And now, what would be the motivation? Why would you want to realize some of these things? How would you want your lifestyle to be different? What would you want your leadership to look like? How would you like it to be different? How do you want your energy levels to be different? How do you want your parenting to be different? How would you like your marriage, your relationships to be different? How would you like your year, your months, your weeks, your days to be different? What would be your ideal day? What would be your ideal week? How do you want your impact and your influence to be different? How do you want your freedom to be different? So really looking at, what would motivation, what identify, say maybe 3 areas in your life, maybe your health and fitness, maybe your parenting, maybe your marriage, maybe your ministry, maybe your professional or personal development. Identify, 1 area if you want, 2 areas if you want, but, no more than 3. The reason that we keep focusing on 3 is that 3 is a really great number for you to focus on and get a lot of clarity about. It doesn't mean that you can't add other things to, once you've realized your top 3 aspirations, doesn't mean that you can't have more throughout the year, but this sets you up really well for success. So think about these areas in your life that you would love to look different, and then think about, what would I love it to look like instead? If it looks like this, instead of this, what would I love it to look like? When you ask yourself the question, well, what would I love it to look like instead? You actually ask your brain to process the complete opposite. So if my relationship looks shallow, unfulfilling, how would I like it to look instead? I'd love it to look deep. I'd love the connection to be significant. I'd love the conversations to be meaningful and intimate. You getting what I'm talking about here? This is the motivation. So when I'm reading books about parenting or pushing myself, exercising, I'm remembering how I want my life to look instead. My energy levels are low. I struggle on a day-to-day basis to be motivated because I'm just tired all the time. How would you like it to look instead? I'd love to have high energy. I'd love to be incredibly motivated. And this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm focusing on my health and my fitness. So these are our motivations. Feel free to jot anything in. I want to be more tolerant with my kids. I want to build on relationships that are mutually encouraging and uplifting. Some aspirations. I want to start my nursing degree. I want to find my future job in humanitarian nursing in war-torn countries. I want my worship to be more intimate, to be able to share the song on my heart with others. Beautiful. And so this is why. When I talk, I often talk and write about your compelling why. There's a great quote. I'm not quite sure who said it, but if your why is compelling enough, you will find a way to do it. If it's not, then you'll just make a whole lot of excuses, a whole heap of reasons. I want to be more strategic. Family, husband, father, ministry, business, financial, all three areas I'd like to see defined by intentionality, not just ad hoc. Beautiful. Marriage and parenting, leading in love and not fear, connecting more meaningfully with those around me. Beautiful. Excellent. Again, you guys are getting the gist of this. That's fantastic. I'm really mindful of time. Um, so I want to move. I want to move through and now bring this to a close with basically some action steps. So this is like where to now. You've got all this great stuff. You've just brainstormed. I would highly recommend that you take the time to now start to refocus and tease out some of those goals, some of those aspirations into goals and priorities. Start looking at framing. I can actually email you. If you email me, I will send you through a template which will help you start to frame some goals. It's just a very simple template. If there's anything at all that I can do to help you move forward as you're starting to create this ideal 2014, let me know. So the first thing is around just really refocusing and starting to tease out some goals from what you know to be true. Identify some clear goals from what you now know to be important, to be true for you. The second thing would be create some accountability around those goals. Talk with your partner, with your pastor, maybe your small group leader or your team leader, a friend, or even, seriously get some coaching. That's always an option. And like I said, this is just a free gift. There's no hard sell here, but obviously that is what I do for a living. But getting some coaching to really draw some clarity around this, what you want to realize in your 2014. I know for me, just the outcomes that I got by being in a coaching program for well, I did it for 6 months, but I know that the outcomes that the girls got from Live Aligned, that accountability dynamic is really, really powerful. Um, and then lastly, that this thing around self-leadership, which is something that I'm incredibly passionate about, really assuming responsibility for leading the way, not just for yourself, but for everyone else in your world. What I love about this model is, yes, this is a great model for your own personal reflection, and it will really help you give expression to what's important to you. So when you have conversations with your husband or your partner or your friends. But what about your small group? If you're a small group leader, every single one of us has a sphere of influence. So why not start paying it forward? And one of the best things that you'll do to consolidate this as a model for yourself will be to literally, next time you're having a cup of coffee, just go over the model with your friend. sorry, when you're having a cup of coffee with a friend, just get a napkin and draw it and say, oh my God, like I sat in on this awesome webinar and there's this really great way of reflecting. I actually did this with the Generation team on the Gold Coast because as leaders, if we're leading teams or in a business, or an organization, we sort of get really focused on strategically planning the next year. But how often do we afford ourselves the opportunity as a leader to actually reflect on, well, what moments am I most proud of for my team or for my church? What challenges together did we confront as a team that we actually grew through? And if we didn't, why didn't we? What are some of the open loops? What were some of the things we wanted to realize as a team or as a church, as a business, as an organization that we didn't get around to? Like, and why didn't we? And were they really important? Or, is there not such a great fit with the vision? What was it about it? What would be our aspirations? And then imagine if you do that for yourself, but imagine if you'd led your team through that process, and all of the good stuff that would bring into your strategic planning. So this is why I really love this model. And again, I think it's if you can refocus, create some accountability, and then exercise your own self leadership, you will start to really experience the movement forward that you want to, because it's now no longer just about you, it's about what you can take into your world. Okay, so what's my next screen? Feedback. I would love to hear back from you guys what you found the most valuable about the last hour together. What was it? I'd love that feedback. I'm really, really curious. What did you learn? What did you notice in yourself as you were moving through those steps? What added the most value to you personally? If you could jot down that stuff for me, that would be really good. That would be giving me some great feedback about what really worked well and what we could do differently, because I'd love to offer this every year as a gift. Okay, some feedback. I'm going to assume responsibility for how I act and react in regards to family. Very good. The power of reflection, identifying what's really important. Fantastic. Thanks. Thanks, Janzi. Realizing the why behind my aspirations, not just focus on the what. It's very powerful. And then, taking it even a step further, Peter, which is, why I'm really passionate about like the program Live Aligned, and just that process of, identifying your values, the what's really truly important to you, and creating your own vision about what sort of life you want to experience, and more importantly, the person that you want to become. So, realizing the why behind your aspirations, not just the what. I would even take it one step further and, dig even a little bit deeper into the who you would need to be. What sort of man would you need to become to really honor your why, and to realize the what you want to achieve in life? Because very often we focus at the other end, and that's the be do have model. We focus on what we want to have, and then we have everything that we think is going to give us a sense of fulfillment, and then we realize, well, maybe I need to do something different. So we get really focused doing, 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 and then one day we wake up and we're still feeling unfulfilled. And you know I guess more disappointingly, a lot of people wake up one day and go, I've got everything that I thought I wanted, but I really don't like the person that I've become. If we just focus on who we want to be, who we feel called to be, then we trust that we will, from that place of being authentic, being um, congruent, that we will just do what we need to do, and then we will have what we really truly need to have, because often we end up having a lot of stuff that we go, I don't really need this. I just thought it was important. Okay. The answers are inside us. Very true. Thank you for Aaron and I. Beautiful. I started not very clear about why I had this goal, but I've clarified and more understanding as to why I want to achieve this goal. How far I've come from this time last year and the challenges I've overcome. These are the things that have added value, and the stuff that people have gotten from the call. The things I've walked through with friends and family, definitely more responsible for my behavior. Writing down everything makes me realize the potential in reflection, action, and accomplishment. Very true, Andrea. Um, yeah, and what comes out of this goal? My greatest motivator, the belief that there is something inside of me that will set people free. There is a gift inside of me that is unique, and I don't want to die with that inside of me and never given expression. Amen, Anna. I believe that for every single person. Realizing that there is hope, even if the world is dark, and if I make a mistake in life, that it's okay and I can do it. I am worth living. I am loved because I exist. I can embrace the positive aspects and achievement of the year and building on those and identify the challenges and how I can grow through them. That's Joe. I can see that I've actually grown a lot in the past year. It's a great feeling, isn't it? It's like, oh my goodness. Now, could you just imagine all of this that you would miss if you just flopped into the new year? I can't wait to share this in a few hours. Fantastic. Go do it, Marina. I love that be do have. Want to have no regrets about who I become in the process. It's so important. Yeah. Fully alive. Amen. Fantastic. Well, that's so cool. That's great. I'm so pleased that you guys got so much out of it. Awesome. So, contact me. Contact me if there's any way that you think I could help you. Obviously, you can go onto my website and have a look at what I have on offer. I've got a new Live Aligned program starting on I think it's the 3rd of February. And that's a program that I'll be running some free info sessions on in the new year. So I only take 10 people for each program. So that's pretty up close and personal, very intense. Lots of coaching involved in that one, but it's just will get you the outcomes. And I know that I've got some people on this call that have already done it and they love the outcomes that they got. Yeah, there's my book there, which I think is still on sale because I haven't changed the price. So if you want to grab my book, it's a bonus at the minute because it's under $10. So you can grab my book, but you can also email me because I've got that template, which again is based on a Taki Moore model, the back of the envelope strategic planning. So it's a very simple plan. So yeah, check me out, contact me. I'm very, very happy to partner with you and do whatever I can to help you on your journey, and might even just somewhere along the line get to have a cup of coffee together. So thank you, Tracy. Let's catch up for coffee. Absolutely. I think we need a Viber call, Anna. Thanks. We'll talk soon. Got to get Nate to work. Lots of love. Yes. Lots of thank you, Tracy. You're amazing. Gracias. What a blessed morning. Amen. Thank you. You're all awesome, 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 awesome. Yeah. See you in Bali next year. Yay. Absolutely, for how beautiful it is. Love you guys and well done. Well done. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.